In more dire states, Illinois lawmakers approving a massive tax increase, hiking personal income taxes by more than 66%. This just hours before new lawmakers were set to take over in the state. It's now up to Illinois Governor Pat Quinn to sign the legislation as he stares at a $13 billion deficit. What could be bad for Illinois could be great for other states. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie shared his thoughts on this hefty tax hike on Fox and Friends this morning.
Let me tell you, you know who the happiest people in the world are? Governor Branstad of Iowa, Governor Walker of Wisconsin, Governor Daniels of Indiana, right?
Yeah.
The people are going to be fleeing, and businesses are going to be fleeing from Illinois to Wisconsin, to Iowa, to Indiana.
Former Virginia Governor George Allen, also former senator, joins me now to weigh in on what he thinks about how states should be handling these budget woes and the woes of neighboring states. Governor, Senator, it's great of you to be here. Do you think that a tax hike like you saw in Illinois is going to be a huge benefit, not just for neighboring states, but maybe even down in the Sun Belt in Florida?
Yeah, I think where businesses are going to be looking to go, and I know this as my days as governors, they'd like to look at places where the cost of doing business is competitively low. It's tax rates, it's regulatory policy, it's right-to-work laws, your electricity rates, and also a capable, skilled workforce. So as Illinois jacks up their taxes to make it less desirable for jobs, I think states like Kentucky, if you want a bordering state or nearby state, Indiana, Missouri, and states to the south are going to be looking to get some of those recruitment of jobs to a place that's more business friendly. I know as governor, we recruited businesses out of New Jersey that came to the Richmond area. Governor Christie gets it. The solution is not more spending and higher taxes. The solution is reining in government to make New Jersey or any state more conducive to investment and retention of jobs, as well as trying to get new jobs to come in.
Well, you have to have citizens who are on board with spending cuts in order to write these budgets, Governor. And within the Illinois, what was passed, there's actually a 10% increase in spending, even though there's a limit on it. So tax hikes, but no spending cuts there.
Well, that's the wrong way to go. Look at family budgets these days. If you're not getting as much revenue in as a family, you have to reduce spending. To have a 10% increase in spending in this economy is, to me, very foolish. And what they need to do is be austere. They ought to be looking at state resources. Maybe they have assets that are surplus that ought to be sold off. They ought to be looking at more creative ways of delivering the key services, whether it's education or law enforcement. In other areas, they ought to look at the private sector to do it rather than government employees and all those retirement benefits.
Do your fellow Republicans in the nation's capital, though, get it? Because in the Hill today, the cardinals or the heads of some of the subcommittees on the Appropriations Committee are saying that they view the ban on earmarks as temporary. That doesn't sound like they get spending cuts here.
Well, obviously, the voters, and I've been all over Virginia for the last several years, the voters of Virginia want to see government spending reined in. And in fact, if the federal government wants to look at where things are done right, is they ought to look at the states where most states have a balanced budget requirement. The governors have line item veto authority. I was one of the few who voted against the bridge to nowhere. I wish that President Bush had line item veto, or any president had line item veto authority to knock out these wasteful spending items in it. But I don't think there's going to be any earmarks for the next 2 years. And beyond the earmarks, the federal government doesn't need to be involved in so many things that they're involved in. Leave it to the people in the states if government needs to be involved at all.
You sound like you're running for office. Tell me right here, right now, are you going to run for Senate?
There's a lot of folks, Dagen, who have been urging Susan and me to do it. We're looking at it and considering it very seriously, and in the short period, we'll be making a decision on that. And there's no other person I'd rather say this to than a fellow Virginian whose parents could actually vote than you, Dagen, but I'm going to have to wait a little bit.
All right, you are welcome back here, and I do expect you back here when you get ready to make the announcement. So I'm going to hold you to that, because I know where you live.
Any old time. Any old time, Dagen. Thank you.
Former governor of Virginia and former senator as well, George Allen. Thank you, sir.
That's right. All right, later on.